My name is Brandy McLaren, and I'm suing my former friend for unreturned property and emotional distress. The defendant kicked me out of her house after 3 weeks, and that's why I'm homeless and I can't regain custody of my kids. I am not going to let her keep me from my baby.
Cue the defendant.
My name is Jessica Brown. Brandy is a liar, a thief, and a drunk. I took her in to help her out, and her kids ate me out of house and home. Therefore, I'm countersuing for rent, food, and moving expenses.
Brandy McLernan is suing Jessica Brown, her former roommate, for unreturned property and emotional distress. And Jessica is countersuing her former roommate for unpaid rent, food, and moving expenses. Now, you say that the two of you met about 16 years ago when you were both in juvenile hall. Brandy, you accused Jessica of being a former crack addict whose addiction caused her to lose 2 of her children to the state.
Yes.
All right. And Jessica, you say that people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, that Brandy has had her children taken away from her on more than one occasion. Is that correct?
Yes.
In fact, one time you say Brandy left her baby in a car while she went to a party to get drunk, and when she came out, she couldn't find the car or the baby. Is that
Correct.
true?
Yeah.
What do you know about
this?
this?
Yes, it is. Well, the thing is, she called me. I actually was up at Denny's eating. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning. She called me, said she was supposedly at a non-alcoholic party with her daughter, who was 2, but she left her baby in the car by herself. She was only 2. Police found her, I think, the next day. Thankfully, she was asleep, but she went to prison for it.
Yes?
No, Your Honor. No.
No?
No. Yes and no, Your Honor. So the story did happen. I was at a birthday party with my daughter, and I did drink at the birthday party, and I couldn't find my daughter or the car. I don't remember anything that happened. I didn't go to prison for that.
Oh, my God. So your daughter's in a car.
This was about 8 years ago.
I
Yes,
don't
Your
care
Honor.
if it was 20 years ago. Your daughter's in a car, and you're drinking at a party? She's 2 years old?
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. She was at the party. It was one of her friends' parties.
A 2-year-old's party?
Yes, Your Honor.
What'd they
It
do,
was a
call
kid's
each other up
party
and say, let's have a party, we'll get some alcohol for our mothers? What are you talking about?
It was a birthday party, and there was alcohol there, so all the adults were drinking alcohol at the birthday
Did you go
party.
to prison for that?
No, Your Honor, no.
How do you know she went to prison for that?
Because she did. The next day, I called her baby daddy, and he told me that she went to jail. Actually, if you look up on CCAP, it shows right there she got sentenced to prison for it, neglecting a child, in 2002.
All right.
No,
2002, neglecting a
2002.
child. Do you have any convictions, Brandy?
Yes, Your Honor, I
For
do,
what?
and I have been to prison, Your Honor.
You've been to state prison?
Yes. No, I went to prison for forgery.
Forgery?
Yes.
Okay. So state prison or jail?
Yes, state prison.
State? You did
Yes.
state time?
Yes.
That's big time?
Yes.
All right. And that was just for forgery?
For theft from a person and forgery.
Theft from a person. To me, theft from a person is robbery. How about to you, Keith?
Me too.
Yeah. Robbery?
No, Your Honor. I
Theft
stole
from
a
a
girl's
person.
backpack. Yeah, that was
From a
theft
person?
Yes.
That
yes,
the
Your
person
Honor.
was wearing?
No, Your Honor. They weren't wearing it.
No, then it's larceny. If you just found it on the floor, that's stealing.
Theft of a mislaid item.
Theft of a mislaid item?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Now, you say the defendant has caused you to be homeless, and she's the reason that you lost custody or cannot regain custody of 2 of your children. You really want me to believe it's someone else's fault that you don't have custody of your children?
No, Your Honor. I'm homeless, and that's why my kids can't come home right now.
Well, go
Not
and get...
that I lost them.
How old are your children?
11, 9, and 3. They reside with my sister.
Where do you reside?
I reside a number of places now that I'm homeless.
Okay. Why don't you get a job?
Yes, Your Honor, I have a job. I'm the administrative assistant.
For
I
whom?
have a good job.
You have a good job?
Yes, Your
So
Honor.
get an apartment.
That's what I'm doing right now.
How long has it been since you've had custody of your kids?
It's been 2 years.
All right. What are you suing her for?
Well, I'm suing her because I moved out of my apartment, and I had bugs in my apartment. They exterminated my apartment a number of times. They couldn't figure out what it was. Jessica was having problems with her roommate at the time. Her roommate abandoned the apartment, so we discussed it quite regularly. Should I move in or not? I still had my place. And she decided, yes, that I could move in. And so I would pay $500 a month for rent. I would rent the downstairs basement. So I moved in with her. I spent $200 on a U-Haul. I moved all of my belongings in there. My children were extremely happy because it was a bigger place.
And how long ago was this?
March.
March 8th.
Didn't you tell me that you haven't had custody for 2 years?
Yes, Your
because you
Honor.
didn't have an apartment.
But you have to follow a number of guidelines in order for your kids to be returned home.
Yeah,
and
well,
so one of
you
that
have a
is
job,
the
you have an
housing.
apartment,
And exactly.
right, and you had your
exactly.
kids.
Exactly.
So
And
why'd you what? No, what?
No, she didn't have her kids. She hasn't had her kids for years, and they've been taken away more than
So
one
you're saying
time.
when you lived together, she didn't have her kids?
She didn't have her
No.
kids. She had visitation with her
Yes.
children, but she didn't. They did not live there. They were there on the weekends.
Yes.
You two decide to move in together. What's this all about?
She approached me and asked if she could move into my basement because she had bugs in her home. The agreement was $500, and she paid for her food and things like that. She moved in without giving me anything. She never paid me any money. The U-Haul, I had to put under my name because she does not have a driver's license.
Do you have proof that you paid for the U-Haul?
Actually, I don't.
She's now suing you for her beds and her television and emotional distress.
Right.
Why are you suing her for emotional distress?
Well, Your Honor, I did have a stable place to live. I was having a problem with bugs, but I still paid my rent because it depends on my kids.
She was not up on her rent before she moved to my house.
Oh, yes,
How
Your
do you
Honor.
know that?
How do I know that? Because she said, before I give them money, can you make a decision whether I should move in or not?
You pay her?
No, not yet. I work for a nonprofit agency, and so she understands
But you work for a nonprofit, and
Yes.
you've got a forgery and a theft from a person conviction?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do they
Yes.
know that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you've
Yes.
lost custody
I help
of
people,
your kids?
actually. Everybody can rehabilitate.
Yeah, they can. You're
So-
right. Here's a problem, though, Brandy.
Yes.
I have your conviction record. 1995, felony theft. 1996, felony theft. 1996, forgery. 2001, felony forgery. 2002, bail jumping. You've got a longer record than most defendants who came before me when I was sitting in the Superior Court. You've got 7 felony convictions. You should be in jail today. You've got 7 felony convictions. And you want to tell me that the only reason you don't have your kids is because you don't have a place?
Yes, Your Honor.
You think I'm stupid?
No, Your Honor. My felony convictions doesn't mean that I can't have my kids.
So then why don't you have your kids? If the reason you don't have them is you don't have a place to live and you don't have a job, well, now you have a place to live, now you have a job, and it's not about your prior record because you can rehabilitate, why didn't you have your kids when you were living with her?
Because I was only there 17 days. Social Services has to do a full overview of the place, make sure it's safe and suitable for my children.
All right.
Before they
Why
can come home.
are you suing her for emotional distress?
Well, because I have nothing no more. My kids,
And it's her fault?
we had a place. Yes,
Why
Your
is it
Honor.
her
She
fault?
threw all my belongings away. I was supposed to come and get those, and she threw them all in the garbage
did you throw them
pictures
away?
and everything. My kids' beds, my bed, everything that I own. I have a friend that died, and she threw her pictures away, and I mean, everything that I own.
Actually, I did not throw your pictures away because I'm not bogus like that.
Well, you threw everything away. I mean, I've contacted you a number of times through emails and text messages.
What was it like living with her?
Horrible. Horrible. She does nothing but drink. She didn't have any money. She ate up all my food.
Did she have a
Her
job at the
children-
not-for-profit?
Yes, she did.
Okay,
she's
but
so
what-
irresponsible. She hasn't paid me for anything. She was bringing strange men home into my house. One morning I woke up and there's some gentleman just sitting in my living room with her children. I say, "Is Brandy still passed out?" He says, "Who?"
Do you have an alcohol problem?
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. Me and Jessica have been out to the bars a couple of times. She drinks just as much as I do.
But that's
when
not
I
the
do
point,
drink.
all right? She's saying you're eating around a house and home.
No, Your Honor. My job is a nonprofit. We have a 12-week life skills course, and we work 3 nights a week. And
What's
every
that
night,
got to do with eating around a house
because
and home?
every night we serve dinner, and I bring it home, and I put food in the house.
She did
Your
none of
Honor.
that. I ended up having to hide food from her children when they came over on the weekends because they wouldn't just eat a fruit snack, they eat the whole box.
Why
Oh,
didn't you
Your
get
Honor.
food stamps?
No, yes, Your Honor. I do get food stamps, and I did
She
put
didn't
food
then.
in the home.
She didn't
And-
then. She
Your
didn't have
Honor-
them then because she missed her appointment. Why? Probably because she was out getting drunk.
Tell me about the beds and the television. Do you have her beds and her television?
I have the bunk beds and all her, and I kept her pictures, and that is all that I have.
Okay. How long had she lived with you
20
without
days.
paying you?
20 days.
All right, so you lived
No,
with her.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
That's enough.
She agreed on
That's
that.
enough.
Yes, Your Honor.
You cannot prove to me that you paid her any money other than by your testimony.
Correct.
Correct. So the issue for the court is whether or not you are entitled to your unreturned property. At some point, you say to her after 20 days, I don't have any money, you're bringing random men into my house, and therefore you're out of here.
Right.
Okay. Do you change the lock? What do you do?
I did change just the top lock because that was the key that I had given her to use. That
All right,
she
so
didn't
she didn't have access to the house
No,
anymore.
she did not.
Okay.
I gave her plenty of opportunities to come get her things.
True.
I told her I was going to send her husband pictures of her and all these guys that she dates
I'm
at the
not
club. And so she
You're
let me come
married?
get it.
I'm not married.
Oh.
No, she calls him her husband. She calls him her husband. So she said that
Stop
was Easter
worrying about
Sunday.
her and start worrying about yourself. You have an
You're
alcohol
right.
problem. You have an alcohol problem. You're dragging around from one place to another. You told me you had 2 convictions. You have 7 felony convictions. You're playing games with me.
No, Your Honor.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
my turn now.
Yes, Your
Here's the
Honor.
bottom line. You don't have your children. Right now, I know of 3 children who are not with their mother because she's hanging around bars, not paying her rent. She's going from one place to another, and she's living with someone who she thought was a friend, and I think she was a friend for 20 days. You don't have food stamps. You're eating her food. Why shouldn't I fine for her in her countersuit against you? You didn't pay her rent.
Well, Your Honor, all I owe her is $200. And plus
Really?
food, and I was only there a couple nights to eat, so I would say
So
$100
why, were you
at
sleeping
food.
around somewhere else?
Yes, Your Honor. I don't
Okay.
have to be at home.
Well, I rest my
I don't
case.
have to be at home the 17
I
days.
rest my case. All
I don't
right,
have to be
the
at home
issue
for
for the
17
court.
days.
Look, you have no credibility with this court. Any woman who stands in front of me, having served state prison time for forgery, theft, robbery, or stealing from the person, who doesn't have her kids, who's drinking and at bars, who leaves her 2-year-old in a car because she's drinking, and you want me to believe it's a 2-year-old's party, and they got together and said, let's get our mothers drunk, and they were inside. You're out of your mind. All right?
Okay.
Do you get the beds? I'm going to give you $700 for the beds because she locked you out and she wasn't supposed to. But you're getting $267 for the unpaid rent. You're getting $500 for food. You took on a risk when you took her in. As far as I'm
Your
concerned,
Honor, are you
right
serious,
now,
Your Honor?
I
I'm
am
sorry.
dead serious. Are
This
you
woman,
serious?
she can't even see
Stop
her
with the
kids.
crocodile tears and
She
get
can't
a
even see
life.
her
Stop
kids.
drinking. $760 for you. Stay away. She needs to get some help. It's her turn to try to get herself together.
I have nothing to say to her.
I am so
because
angry because she's
nothing
a
but violence.
crackhead that don't. You can't even
Right.
see your other
Yeah,
2 kids.
that's in my records,
You can't even
right?
understand
That's in my
it.
records.
At least I can see mine all the time.
Don't want to talk to you because you ain't worth it.